Recording, probably. All right. Hello, and welcome to a special episode of Downstage with Bryan Hayden, of a special segment, what we like to call Hypothetical Crossover That Should Have Happened. Today's episode, or today's segment, is about Daniel LaRusso versus Rocky Balboa. And this actually came about because I had just been recently, this past week, been rewatching the Rocky movies. And I haven't watched the Rocky movies in, say, a few years. Because, the last time I think I watched, a Rocky movie in full was probably before or after the first Creed movie came out, right? But as I was watching this, a lot of things just came to mind. One, just timeline-wise, right before he went to face Ivan Drago, 1985 was apparently the pinnacle year of when this hypothetical fight should have happened, because Karate Kid and Karate Kid 2, I'm sorry, the Karate Kid canonically takes place in 1984. 2 and 3 take place in 1985, oddly enough, because Karate Kid 3 takes place a year after the first tournament. So what I was thinking was, it's 1985. Daniel LaRusso has just won the All Valley tournament twice. Went through hell with being taught by Terry Silva and John Kreese and dealing with Mike Barnes. It got me thinking, what happened to Rocky around this time? Because he had yet to face the Russian, right? Because I believe the Russian fight between Drago happens, I believe, in 86 or around that area. No, it happens in 85. So what I was thinking, there's a period of gap between when Rocky fights Drago, but Daniel LaRusso had just become the All Valley champion twice. So what it got me thinking is, hypothetically, who will win between the Karate Kid versus the Italian Stallion? And a lot of this actually does come into play because Bill Cundy actually, aside from the fourth movie, did the music for the Karate Kid trilogy, and I think for the fourth Karate Kid, I'm not sure, and essentially all the Rocky movies aside from aside from Rocky 4. Rocky 4 had still a Stallone wanted apparently a new sound. So that's why there was a much more different Rocky sound for 4 than compared to the other movies. But yeah, it got me thinking. You have Rocky in the prime of his life. You have LaRusso coming off essentially a difficult year. But he's starting to become in the prime of his career. And Rocky, for whatever reason, maybe he's doing a charity event in L.A. or where the All Valley is. Not L.A. San Fernando. I forgot where the All Valley is, but yeah, he goes. He's like, hey, I want to see. Hey, Adrian, there's a karate tournament. I want to see this.
Hey, Adrian, look at these kids, they're with their fancy moves and their kicks, I mean, I could take them out with one punch,
Yeah, but yeah, I actually got to thinking, it was from a character standpoint, between these two characters, who will win? Rocky Balboa versus Daniel LaRusso. Obviously, when it comes to strength, Rocky has the strength. Speed, LaRusso has speed. But not counting Rocky. Rocky has speed too, but his speed is more almost like the last minute speed, whereas it's he comes up with a lot of stuff almost out of nowhere. It's from in his words in Rocky Balboa, it's all still in the basement.
Yeah, it can literally be compared to in the Dragon Ball Super manga, where Daniel LaRusso is like Goku with Ultra Instinct, trying to dodge every attack he can. And then Rocky Balboa is like Vegeta with Ultra Ego, and he's like, yeah, just hit me. Come on, hit me.
Yeah.
And just taking all the hits he can, and just taking all the hits anyway, never dodging.
Yeah, so hypothetically, Rocky sees LaRusso win the match. hey, maybe I could actually beat this kid. I don't know. And and of course, this happens like maybe 2 years after Mickey has unfortunately passed away because of Clubber Lang. So, I mean, the actions of Clubber Lang, I should say. So it got to me thinking, okay, they decided to have an exhibition match because this is just purely exhibition. Rocky has shown that he could go toe to toe with Thunder Lips in a ring because Rocky is a boxer, but Thunder Lips is a wrestler. Rocky 5 showed that he could actually do a street fight.
Mhm.
And everything else, it obviously shows that Rocky, even in a boxing ring, even in and out of a boxing ring, he still knows how to control the circle. I mean, square. So. Hey,
That's my cat. Yeah, she's like clawing at some furniture right now.
Or furniture. But yeah, Hayden, from your experience with both properties, who do you think could actually be the winner? Will it be a draw? Will Rocky win, or will LaRusso win? I have a theory, but I'll let you go first.
Okay, I gotta think about this one for a second because it's like if we're basing it just off of the 80s before after Karate Kid Part 3, but before the whole Cobra Kai series, and then Rocky where he is before the Ivan Drago fight.
Yeah,
I would easily say it would be Rocky who would win that because he does have the strength and he can take the hits easy. Daniel LaRusso wouldn't be able to land a hard enough hit on him to knock him down, especially some of the other hits that that Rocky has taken. And Rocky, he has a lot of force behind those punches. So all he needs is to connect a few good hits, and Daniel's gonna be he'll get injured pretty bad if he takes too many hits from him. But just enough well placed hits anyway.
And
because they are both used to taking some punishment. But yeah, if we're just basing off of that timeline, I would say it would be Rocky. But if we're doing it on say the Cobra Kai timeline where Rocky has been the mentor to Michael B. Jordan's character, and then
which we'll go into in a few minutes.
Oh, okay, then I got a different theory about that one then, so I'll wait and save it for then.
Prime Rocky versus Prime LaRusso, maybe coming into his age of becoming a great fighter. I honestly think that Rocky could win, and he probably would win because it is Rocky Balboa. He's done worse things. I mean, he's
fought way tougher opponents for sure.
Yeah, but I believe that LaRusso could win too because all that he needs to do against Rocky is catch him off guard, and Rocky is able to be off guard maybe in a moment's notice because of not Adrian, but more along the lines of he's in the fight, and Rocky has a flaw of when he does fight, he becomes a little too fighty. Like what you said before, he'll just take out all these punishments and just start fighting away.
Mm-hmm.
Who did LaRusso just recently fight in that timeline? Mike Barnes. Mike Barnes had the same exact thing where he would just fight and fight and fight, but he, managed to come up and actually, kick Barnes in the. I was supposed to say kick Barnes. Kick Barnes out. He had the same problem with Johnny Lawerence. Because Johnny, especially with Kreese, backing him up, and now with Terry Silver, and I think, and this is also where LaRusso could win, whereas because of the teachers between Miyagi and Silver, especially that twisted Cobra Kai thing, I could easily see LaRusso using Rocky's own. I want to say fighting chance, or at least his ability to take a punch and exploiting that, because LaRusso will know that Rocky could probably be like, oh, you could probably take a couple of hits, and Miyagi will be like, dang your son, he will be able to, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, at this point in Rocky's career, Rocky does not have Mickey. He'll probably have Apollo backing him up and Duke. And Apollo is, another former fighter and his best friend. But obviously, I guess I could easily see it becoming a draw, but I could also see it having LaRusso win because of the teachings that he actually had with both Miyagi and Silver.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly see a little bit of both a draw, but also LaRusso winning just by a hair because he exploits Rocky's ferocity.
Actually, yeah, like when we talk about it too, it also kind of makes me realize that, like, I think even Rocky would also be like, hey, I'm fighting a kid here. I mean, would you expect me to, like, knock some kid's teeth out here or something?
And
so I feel like he would also be kind of like not actually going as hard as he normally would against, like, say someone in the regular boxing ring, because, like, Daniel is still technically a kid, pretty much. Yeah. So he wouldn't want to go like full force on him too. So I feel like that's something Daniel would take advantage of as well. And I feel like yeah, he would be like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with losing this one.
Yeah.
But then also I feel like in the same vein, like, Miyagi would be watching this, and then it would inspire him to be like, okay, yeah, maybe I should teach Daniel that other trick that that guy Chosen knows, but that I never taught Daniel.
Yeah. Now, going off on this, because there's a lot of great Rocky and Karate Kid Cobra Kai characters that do match up between each other. Mm-hmm. And that second matchup is Johnny Lawerence versus Apollo Creed. Obviously, I see Apollo winning because
hands down,
hands down,
hands down, easy.
I'm sorry, Johnny, but obviously it's Carl Weathers. I mean,
exactly,
it's Carl Weathers.
Like, just look at his bicep and like and what's that movie with him and Arnold Schwarzenegger where they're like, what? Predator, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking it was a different movie, but yeah, right, Predator. And just watch his bicep. Like, Johnny, you're taking a punch from that, you're going down. Like,
but I could easily see the same thing happening with Apollo fighting. Although I could see like a much more different fight between Apollo and John Kreese, because I could easily see Johnny Lawerence like being forced to go and fight Apollo. And Apollo's like, "Come on, kid, I don't want to fight you." And then just like a random punch that goes like knocks him down, and then suddenly
like a one punch knockout on Johnny Lawerence, and then Kreese is like, and then Kreese just starts like literally doing what he does at the beginning of the the second Karate Kid.
Yeah,
where he literally just starts trying to choke out Johnny, literally abusing him, and then Apollo comes over and is like, trying to tell him to back off, and then boom, Kreese and Apollo get in a fight.
Yeah, because I think that's where the real fight is, because we both know that Johnny Lawerence can't go toe-to-toe with Apollo. Obviously not.
Oh,
because, again, it's Apollo Creed. But Apollo Creed versus John Kreese. Now, that would be an interesting fight, to say the least, because John Kreese is... Like, the weird thing about the Cobra Kai series is, like, they do show Kreese fighting, but they don't really show him, like, fighting. Like, fighting. Like... Unless they do show him fighting in this, I haven't really noticed it before. It's like
the older Kreese or the younger one?
The older Kreese, like the.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there's also the limitation of the fact that it's like, you're only gonna be able to do so much with a lot of these actors who are much older.
Yeah.
Because their mobility isn't the same as it was before, so there is also that as taken into account.
But younger Kreese could go a couple of rounds, but
and he would be a younger Kreese in this timeline, more or less. Like, he wouldn't be the age he is now. So, like, I could easily see this being an interesting matchup. And because also you got to factor in, like, Kreese was in the military and he was trained to be in that special unit with that, whatever his name was, guy.
Terry Silver. Oh, no.
Well, not Terry Silver, the guy who was leading their unit.
Right.
Whoever that guy was. The guy who literally inspired his motto of no mercy.
Yeah. Again, this is also taking in account Cobra Kai's backstory as well. But... We got, Johnny Lawerence and Apollo Creed. Obviously, it's going to be Apollo winning the match. But
it'll actually be a really good challenge for him, I feel like.
Yeah, John Kreese against Apollo Creed will be a great challenge because it actually does factor in Apollo's egotistic nature of wanting to face the best fighter. And, you know, his pride was his downfall in Rocky 2 because he wanted to go face against Rocky because he couldn't accept defeat. And when he does accept defeat, you know, he becomes Rocky's best friend, but it's in Rocky 4 where he does feel like, oh, I could take on Ivan Drago. And of course, you know, it gets killed because his pride ends up becoming his downfall. But it's just an interesting fight to see is like how well will Kreese go against Creed and how well would Creed go against Creed's own Cobra Kai fighting. Because the whole thing is this no mercy. It's like, how would a no mercy karate thing go against someone who is just fought? Excuse me. How well is Kreese? How well is Creed able to go against someone who is? Yeah, but basically,
yeah. Just say Apollo instead of Creed. Otherwise, we're gonna get confusing here. I think that's already.
Yeah, Apollo versus Creed. Apollo versus Creed.
Because you know how similar those two names can be. Yeah. If you're not careful, it's like it easily slips.
Apollo versus Kreese. There we go. It's the real fight between Johnny and Apollo. Johnny and Apollo, it could obviously just be like Johnny going, "Hey man, I could take you out," and just Apollo just going, "Just show me what you got." And then when Apollo tries to, when he goes to attack Apollo just moves out of the way, sidesteps him, knocks him down, and then the real fight will be Apollo versus Kreese. So yeah. Now, bringing up on the third fight though. Because there's a fourth fight. The fourth fight will be the lineage, the legacy fight, right? The third fight is Mike Barnes. Mike Barnes is essentially Terry Silver's he's basically his version of like an untamed animal, right? Now, Rocky, knowing about this, has to call in a favor. Who do you think he calls to help him against Mike Barnes? Because he knows Mike Barnes has got to be a problem because Mike Barnes, you know, he's probably still in the Old Valley. You know, maybe this is all happening at the end of Rocky, not the end of Rocky, the end of part 3. At the end of part 3. So they're still in the San Fernando Valley. Who do you think that Rocky would have to go, hey, you know, there's this younger kid who is, you know, like reminds me of you, man. Can you come out and help me?
Well, you already kind of gave it away right there. Like, yeah, he would call the Karate Kid, LaRusso, Daniel LaRusso.
No. Well, obviously it wouldn't be. Well, obviously it'd be LaRusso because LaRusso just fought him. But I think Rocky would call in Clubber Lang for help to face Mike Barnes, because when I was watching 3 and thinking about Mike Barnes and think about the fight with a hypothetical Mike Barnes fight, Clubber Lang and Mike Barnes basically share the same problem. They're too aggressive in the fight. But according to Stallone, Clubber Lang essentially found Jesus after their fight in 3. So I could easily see the fight with Clubber Lang being like, "Hey Rocky, you know, I can't do Mr. G." You'd be like along the lines of like, "Rocky, I could probably help you, but you know, I found God," you know, that sort of thing too. And it's sort of like that. Remember how BA was in the A-Team movie, where he basically found God and he basically became like a pacifist because he didn't want to do the same thing. I could easily see the same thing happening, whereas like Clubber Lang found God, found religion, doesn't want to take another punch or like that, but this guy, you know, because of Silver and everything else, he's just like, okay, you know what, fine, you know what, I'll fight this kid just to put him on the safe side. And of course, Mike Barnes is like too, like I said before, he's an untamed animal where it's just like he is only goaded because of Terry Silver, which becomes a more interesting fight between Terry Silver and Clubber Lang, where it's just like you have, because we all know Terry Silver can, like, we all know he could actually go to toe to toe with somebody.
Oh yeah.
His fight between, I think it was him and Kreese, like that was amazing to watch because that's like years of just animosity just going towards each other. But you're bringing Clubber Lang against someone like Barnes and him knocking Barnes to the ground and actually making sure he's like done with, and then suddenly Clubber Lang has to go against Terry Silver. Now that's actually a fight I would love to see, because you have someone who is maybe hopped out on cocaine or something like that. I mean, they do joke about that in the last season, where it's like, oh yeah, I was on a lot of drugs. So you have a drug crazed businessman who knows how to fight, who knows karate, who knows a few different things, and you have him against Mr. T of all people. Who do you think wins?
I actually think it would be I think it's gonna be Terry Silver, because like he doesn't have the brute strength that Mr. T would have, but what he does know how to do best as well is psychological warfare.
Yeah.
So he would use that to his advantage on his opponent, and then he would use that to find an opening.
Oh yeah, and I honestly think that Terry Silver probably does win the fight against Clubber Lang, because unfortunately Clubber Lang's weakness is his stamina, because Rocky's able to exploit it in Rocky 3, where it's just like he knows that he can't go the 15 rounds. Like the same thing with and
also he'll just pay off the judge too, just in case.
Damn it, Terry. All right, but yeah, speaking of Cobra Kai, it's years later. LaRusso and Rocky are like sort of best friends, or like, hey, they know each other because he's from Jersey. I mean, he's from Jersey. LaRusso's from Jersey. Rocky's a Philly boy. They obviously know each other. They've probably done like charity events around the area too.
Oh, they'll probably become like business acquaintances, and they'll probably do like commercials for like the LaRusso car dealership. So it's like they'll kind of have like the karate thing going on that they do, but then they'll also sometimes like a special thing with like Rocky showing up and doing some like these deals. It's a real bam knockout.
I could actually see that too, especially how comfortable like Rocky becomes in terms of becoming like not a charity thing, but like an actor, like doing those commercials.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's years later. I could easily, and because we go into essentially the Cobra Kai timeline, where it's just like these are now older characters. Johnny Lawerence can fight, so if he actually wanted to face Rocky, he probably could. But Rocky is now more older, sicker. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, and I forgot it was either maybe not Rocky. I think it was either Creed 2 or maybe in Creed that he essentially starts becoming a lot more weaker because of a cancer. So obviously he can't really fight anymore. So that's why he, teaches, Adonis how to fight. So, and this is something that we actually talked about, was that Johnny takes his son, or maybe Miguel, to fight Adonis. Who wins between those two between that fight?
I don't think he would take his son to do that.
So it'll be Miguel.
No. I don't think I don't think he would take Miguel either. I think Johnny would want to fight him himself, because he would like, if he knows that this is the son of the guy who just like whooped his ass and just like in mere seconds flat. I think he would want to take on the son of that guy himself.
Oh, really? Interesting.
That's what I kind of think. Because he would kind of look at this guy and be like, I think it would be, for Johnny, it would be his way to like kind of like prove himself.
Now, would this be Johnny drunk as a skunk, or Johnny having having teamed up with LaRusso to form like the Ego Fang Miyagi-Do partnership, or is this like a more aggressive Johnny that isn't really drunk, but he's just very more aggressive on his own?
I would say I could see two of these scenarios happening. So the first encounter would be obviously the drunk one, where he gets, whooped and, thrown on his ass with ease because it's Johnny. That's kind of what happens. He gets drunk and then just, shit happens.
Yeah.
But then there would be that second one where I don't think he would kind of, be, well, if we're basing this off of the timeline of where it is currently now with season 4, like that kind of Johnny, then he wouldn't be going the more aggressive route per se. He would still use that aggression in a fight.
Yeah.
But he would have mellowed out a little more and kind of start realizing, okay, shoot, I actually have to use these, this whole Miyagi-Do dodging stuff.
I should actually start using karate now.
Oh shit, I can't just punch my way through everything.
Yeah. But yeah.
And then it also makes me wonder too, it's like, if Daniel sees how hell bent Johnny is on wanting this rematch with this guy after getting thrown on his ass while he was drunk and just made an ass of himself.
Yeah,
I think Daniel would actually teach him that pressure points technique.
Yeah, and I could easily see that happening with Adonis too, because Adonis, he is Apollo, he is like his father, because he does have that problem of pride, and I could easily see Adonis kind of say, come on, like trying to do that, and right before he could go punch Johnny again, Johnny goes like, and then takes out his arm, and then he goes like then, and then the same like those pressure points where it's just like, and then just
immobilizes, he'll immobilize the two arms, then he'll immobilize one of the legs to get him down to one knee, and then have him in a position ready to knock him out.
And then it's like, honk.
No, I think he would do the honk, and then when Adonis thinks okay, you're just messing with me, bam, punch to the face, knockout. He would. Oh no, actually, he would do the honk and then come back around with a kick.
That would actually make more sense with Johnny. Now, if Adonis had to fight one of the Cobra Kai students, I would think probably the best fight he would probably have would probably be a Hawk, or at least Hawk or
Hawk.
I think Hawk.
I would say a tie between Hawk and Johnny's son, whose name I'm blanking on at the moment.
I think everyone else forgets what the kid's name is.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm sorry, Tanner, but you play a great character, but sometimes the character is just like, what's the kid's name again on the show? It is? Oh, okay.
I know your face, but I just don't know your name.
Like I know your actor name and I know your face, but who are you again on the show?
Exactly.
Oh. But yeah, I honestly think.
Well, I feel like these also are even. Yeah, I feel like these particular comparisons too actually don't work even less because at least with Daniel, he actually did fight adults, so he has experience with that. But then everyone I've seen in Cobra Kai, most of these kids have never had experience fighting, adult-sized opponents. It's just been people their own age.
Yeah.
So it's they would have to try and get used to the fact that okay, this guy has got more muscle behind him, so I can't hit him. I can hit him as hard as I can, but it's not going to do as much. So I'd have to try and figure something else out. But then I feel like I would end with a knockout.
All right, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this special episode of a hypothetical crossover that should have happened. Daniel LaRusso versus Rocky Balboa. The winner, of course, is always Rocky, but there are moments where the LaRusso camp might actually win just on sheer bravery alone, or just. But it's.
And there's also I think there would be this fun moment where Daniel would want to go up to Rocky and be like, "Hey, I kind of want to show you this new thing I learned." And Rocky would be like, "Yeah, okay, show me." And then he'd be like, Jesus, kid, what did you do to me?
Although it does actually make a question. Rocky has, Rocky's like in his 60s going on in his 70s now, the same age as Kreese.
Mm-hmm.
Would Rocky knock out Kreese, especially now?
Ooh.
And that, my friends, is how we're going to leave you off for this episode. Is how an older, wiser Rocky, but still limited with his own personal health, would go against someone like John Kreese, who hasn't really faltered in age the same way Terry Silver hasn't really faltered in age.
Mm-hmm.
And that, my friends, is the end of this episode. And we'll be back next time with probably a great thing that you suggested, Alien, the world of Alien, and Star Trek. Take care, everybody, and please be safe.